In a research lab in Virginia, an artificial intelligence system analyzed over 5,000 documented cases of near-death experiences. What it found was impossible to ignore. Patterns. Mathematical patterns that shouldn't exist. The AI detected something that has haunted scientists for decades. Evidence that consciousness might survive beyond the final heartbeat. This isn't about faith. This isn't about belief. It's about data. Cold, calculated data. It suggests everything we know about death might be wrong. Death, the one absolute certainty in human existence? Or is it? For centuries, people have reported strange experiences at the edge of death. Visions of light, encounters with deceased loved ones, memories of floating above their own bodies, watching doctors fight to bring them back. Science dismissed these stories as hallucinations, oxygen-starved brains firing their last desperate signals. But then, something changed. In 2019, researchers at the University of Virginia fed every documented near-death experience into an advanced neural network. Thousands of accounts, different cultures, different time periods, different religions. The AI was programmed to find patterns invisible to the human eye. What it discovered sent shockwaves through the scientific community. The experiences weren't random. They followed a mathematical structure, a sequence, like a program running its final commands. But here's where it gets disturbing. The sequence was identical across cultures that had never made contact with each other. Indigenous tribes in the Amazon, medieval monks in Europe, modern cardiac arrest patients in Tokyo hospitals. They were all describing the same thing. The AI calculated the probability of this occurring by chance. The number it returned was so astronomically small, it might as well have been zero. Something real was happening. Something that transcended biology, culture, and time itself. Dr. Bruce Grayson, psychiatrist who has studied near-death experiences for over 4 decades, provided the research data. But it was the machine learning algorithm that revealed what human researchers had missed. The AI identified 7 core elements that appeared in 87% of all verified cases. 1. A sensation of leaving the physical body. 2. Movement through a tunnel, or an void. 3. Encountering a brilliant light described as more real than reality itself. 4. Communication, without spoken words. 5. A life review, every memory experienced simultaneously. 6. Meeting. Deceased individuals who provided information the experiencer couldn't have known. 7. A boundary, a choice to return. But the AI went deeper. It analyzed the neurological data from patients who were clinically dead. No heartbeat, no brain activity. Flat EEG readings. According to conventional neuroscience, consciousness should be impossible in this state. Yet these patients returned with verifiable information. A woman in a Seattle hospital described a shoe on a 3rd-floor ledge while she was clinically dead in the operating room. The shoe was found exactly where she said it would be. Details she couldn't have seen. Details she couldn't have known. Another case. A blind man described the colors and patterns on the surgical team's clothing during his cardiac arrest. He had been blind since birth. He had never seen color, yet he described them perfectly. The AI flagged these cases as anomalous data points requiring non-conventional explanation. In 2023, a breakthrough study measured brain activity in the moments immediately after clinical death. Researchers discovered something that defied everything we thought we knew. In the 30 seconds after the heart stopped, the brain showed a massive surge of gamma wave activity. The highest frequency brainwaves we know of. It's a kind associated with peak consciousness and heightened awareness. The brain wasn't shutting down, it was waking up. The AI cross-referenced this with quantum physics models. Some physicists have theorized that consciousness isn't produced by the brain, but rather received by it, like a radio picking up a signal. If that's true, then death isn't the end of consciousness. It's just the end of the receiver. The AI gave this theory a 68% probability rating based on available data, higher than chance. Higher than coincidence. So what's really happening when we die? Scientists have proposed 2 competing explanations. Theory 1. The brain's final illusion. Skeptics argue that near-death experiences are nothing more than neurochemical reactions. DMT released by the pineal gland, endorphins flooding the system, oxygen deprivation creating vivid hallucinations. the brain's last-ditch attempt to make sense of its own shutdown. It's a comforting explanation. Scientific, rational, safe. But it doesn't explain the verifiable information. It doesn't explain how a clinically dead brain with no measurable activity can form coherent, detailed memories. It doesn't explain the pattern the AI discovered. Theory 2. Consciousness beyond the body. The alternative explanation is more unsettling. What if consciousness isn't a byproduct of brain chemistry, but something fundamental to the universe itself? What if the brain is simply the interface, not the source? Quantum mechanics has already shown us that observation affects reality, that particles can exist in two places at once, that information cannot be destroyed, only transformed. If consciousness operates at the quantum level, then death of the body doesn't mean death of awareness. It means transition, transformation. The AI analyzed historical texts, religious scriptures, and philosophical writings spanning 3,000 years. It found 94% thematic overlap with modern near-death reports. The Tibetan Book of the Dead, the Egyptian Book of Coming Forth by Day, Plato's allegory of the cave. Humanity's been describing the same phenomenon for millennia. Either we've all been sharing the same delusion for thousands of years, or we've been glimpsing the same truth. But here's where the mystery deepens. Not everyone who dies and comes back reports these experiences. Roughly 20% of cardiac arrest survivors remember nothing, just darkness, just void. The AI couldn't explain this discrepancy. Is it a matter of memory formation, or some brains unable to encode the experience? Or is there something else at play, something we're not equipped to understand? Then there's the disturbing outlier cases. In rare instances, less than 1% of documented cases, people return with knowledge they shouldn't possess. Mathematical proofs they never studied, languages they never learned. One case involved a child who woke from a coma speaking fluent ancient Sanskrit, a language that hasn't been spoken conversationally in over 1,000 years. The AI classified these as unresolved anomalies. And there's one more thing, something the researchers don't talk about publicly. In 2022, the AI detected a pattern in the timing of near-death experiences. When multiple people died simultaneously in disasters, accidents, mass casualty events, the reports showed correlations. People describing the same environment, the same beings, the same messages, as if they were all in the same place. The probability of independent hallucinations producing identical content across separate individuals, 0.0003%. The data suggests something impossible, that there might be an actual place, a dimension, a state of existence. Call it what you want. It's there. In the data. In the patterns. In the cold, mathematical certainty of machine learning. So here's the question that keeps scientists awake at night. If the AI is right, if consciousness does survive death, then what are we? Are we bodies that temporarily host awareness? Or are we awareness that temporarily inhabits bodies? And if death is just a transition, what are we transitioning into? The AI couldn't answer that. No algorithm can. Because the only way to know for certain is to take that final step, to cross that boundary. And none of us who are watching this right now have done that. Not permanently, anyway. But maybe the answer has been hiding in plain sight all along. Every major civilization, every culture, every era of human history has believed in something beyond death. Different names, different interpretations, but the same core idea. What if they weren't wrong? What if they were reporting data? In 2024, the AI project was quietly shut down. No official explanation. The lead researcher left academia. The data was archived, the patterns documented. But the question remains, and it's waiting for all of us. Death is the only mystery every single one of us will solve. The only question is, will we remember the answer? The evidence is there. The patterns are real. The data doesn't lie. But science has only scratched the surface of what might be the greatest discovery in human history. This isn't the end of the investigation. It's just the beginning. If you want to explore more mysteries that science can't explain, if you want to see what else the AI has uncovered about reality itself, then you know what to do. Subscribe. Because the next mystery might be the one that changes everything. Some questions don't have answers. They have destinations. And we're all heading there.